Hello there, everybody. My name is Robertta Bobbie, and this is Heartfelt with Bobbie here on Dialogues with Jagero. And today, my guest is none other than Jagero, Oduor Jagero. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Today, I want us to discuss daddy issues.
What is daddy? What is daddy issue?
That's a very nice question. So, daddy issues ni issues zenye zina occur when you have either a problematic relationship with your father or an non-existent relationship with your father. If your father was absent, just a strained relationship with your father. For people who have an absent father in their lives, whether it's emotionally, physically, whatever absence, there's always some traits that you see them possess, and these traits they show up in their relationships as they're growing up. So, I'm always saying how the father figure is very important in the family. Lakini watu wengine hawatakangi kuniamini ama hawatakangi kunisikiza. There's this notion, especially under capitalism, that the man is supposed to be out there fending and creating and bringing the money home. So it's always been normal for the dad not there. Daddy akwangi, daddy haezi make time, daddy ako job. Lakini over the years, we are starting to see that there's a significant issue and difference between kids who have very present fathers and mothers and kids who do not. Na ina manifest in so many ways. Last time we were here, when we almost touched on fathers, I started crying because I was...
Why were you crying? Tell me about your fathers.
I was not ready for that conversation just yet. And I don't know if it's a conversation you ever become ready for, but I think it's just things happen and then you have to deal with them. I was getting very frustrated because in my dating life, not even in my dating life, I think in my dating life I've known how to handle it. But in normal day-to-day lives, there's things that happen and you're reminded that you don't have a father or that you've never had a father. An example I gave was last week when, what was I fixing?
You're fixing a bulb?
It was, I don't know, no, it was the curtain rods.
Yeah.
Curtain rod at my house. So I needed a nyundo, because I think my curtain was too heavy, so it fell. And I needed a nyundo so that I could fix it and put it back. But now, because I don't have a nyundo, because I didn't know tools are necessary for everyone. You think tools are a manly thing. Those are things men do. When you're moving out, those are things men will take care of. But now, as a woman who lives on my own, I'm starting to realize I need tools. I need a nyundo, I need a naitwaje ile yaku hata sijui majina zake. Hacksaw, I need a ile ya kushika kitu hivi alafu unaiturn hivi. Sijui inaitwaje.
The spanner.
Spanner, hizo vitu zote. Those are things that it looks small, but when you reach that point, and it got me frustrated because most times for the repairs I'm not saying repairs are for men, but like anytime I have to do repairs, I am reminded that I had no one to teach me these things. No one was there to teach me these things. My mom was doing the motherly things, but my father was not there to say, hey, this is how you ride a bike. My mom taught me how to ride a bike. My mom taught me how to drive a car. My mom taught me how to change a tire. She taught me everything. All these things I learned from a woman. I think it would have been so much better if I had a father figure in my life who told me these things are normal, this is what happens, this is how you do it. I mean, even now, it's just for me to pay for those services than do them for myself, than learn. There's no day I've sat and said, let me go to the store and buy some tools. I always just think, I'll call the plumber. I don't want to have to do all that work. But you see, now I have to wait, I have to call him today, and then he comes tomorrow, jioni. But if I had the tools, I would have fixed it immediately. Such things are important.
What happened to your fathers?
My fathers. I have two fathers. My biological dad and the dad I grew up with, who's my dad. I don't call either stepfather or step whatever. All of them are just my dads because they're all my dads. And these guys were not available in my life. They were not there. They were not present. The one I grew up with was there physically, but he was very detached from the family. He was never available. And my biological dad, I'd say he was very involved emotionally, but he was never there. Like he remembered birthdays and graduations and celebrations, and he always gave me a call and stuff. But vitu important, vitu tangible, vitu zenye naanza kurealize saizi there's a direct correlation between me not having a father and why I act like that. Those are things I'm noticing now. Like for the longest time, I was writing an article about this guy. This guy that I dated. Please don't judge me. He was in his 50s. He's like twice my age. Over twice.
Was the sex good?
Maybe pushing 60.
That's all that matters. Was the sex good? Was the money sweet?
Well, okay, let me tell you why I ended up liking him.
Yeah.
How I even liked him.
Okay.
How I even started to like an old man.
Okay.
It's because I have
fair to him,
this
50 is
thing.
not that old.
It's not?
Like we have a 50 man denying women in Equatorial Guinea, left, right, and center.
That's the real.
With a long ass dick. What the hell?
Maybe that's why the girls were sending out
if he
referrals.
gives you, if akikugonga, you have to go and
You tell
the
your
story.
friend. You have to tell your friend. Lakini this guy, the reason I started liking him was because I'd say he had that fatherly love. Please don't take it the wrong way. Let me just explain. He was very available. Unajua au vijana wa young wa town. A 32-year-old is very different from a man who's pushing 60.
Yeah.
He was very attentive, very present, very available. He had all the time. He gave me everything I want. I think he saw me like his little girl. I don't know if that makes it weird, but like he really took care of me. This man cooked, cleaned. Alikuwa hata kidogo anibebe kutoka kwa bafu mpaka kwa bed ndo nisiwahi kanyaga chini. Yani he took care of me completely, and I could see his love. I could see his care, his intentions, his attentiveness. He was like my father. He was giving me all the things my You see why dads, you should love your kids at home? Now see what we're discussing. This man, I hope he doesn't watch this episode, but anyway, he was there. Like for real, I never used to have to ask for anything. He's done it. I need what? He's done it. I need Siju. He's paid. So it goes beyond him having money and him being even a generous, rich man. It was more about how attentive and how caring he was. And I just have never found this level of care in younger men. Younger men don't listen. They don't care. They don't respond. They don't want to solve issues. They don't care to fix anything. It's always arguments. It's always me trying to convince them, yo, let's talk about our feelings. But in this relationship, it was different because it was him. He was really a dad. Like, he was really being a father. Like, like, let's sit down and talk about this. And let's fix this. Well, the relationship lasted a month. And then ikaisha.
Hey, surely. You're talking about the relationship like it was a year or two. A month.
Yeah. And imagine I felt all these feelings in 1 month. I felt so cared for, so well loved, so well provided for, secure, happy, taken care of. Yani, it was almost as if I got that feeling, that experience of, let me just call my dad because he'll do it. You know, I can call. I've never felt that feeling before. All my life, because I've never had a reliable father figure that I can call for anything. My tire burst, I would call my mom, or I'd get a mechanic. My homework, I'd call my mom. My clothes, my schooling, my fees, money, nini. These days, even when I hang out with my friends and they're like, my dad is going to do it for me. I don't have rent this month, I'll just call my dad. I can't relate.
You can't relate.
If I don't have rent, Nivo, eviction, pap, Me siwezi relate. Siwezi relate because I don't have present fathers. And this has affected me in that for the longest time, instead of looking for a partner in a relationship, instead of looking for my equal, someone who meets me halfway where I meet them at, I'm always looking for an older guy who has things figured out. And it's very unintentional. I don't say, today I want an old man. No. I just go and I weigh my options, and I find that the older man is the one who's taking care of me better.
Yeah. That's I don't know, man. That
What do you think about that as a dad when you listen to me speak?
it's heart-wrenching, to be honest with you. I don't know. My feelings are all over the place. You know, the way women say that their feelings are all over the place.
Yeah.
My feelings are really all over the place with this, and I think we are laughing through it, but it
Through
can
the
be,
trauma.
Through the trauma, it can be very, very. But I wanted to ask, what happened with the 50-year-old? Did he just fly away?
Okay.
Or his wife found out?
No, he was not married. So he wasn't married. He had been in a long relationship, and then he's not from Kenya. So he moved to Kenya, and that relationship ended. So he had nothing else stable or serious for a while. And I met him years before even I met him so many years before. So even to date, it was like a reconnection. Like we're meeting after a long time again. And immediately he met me again. You see, because he's a grown-up, he knows what he wants. Hakuna hizo mambo za, let's go with the flow. Let me see what I think. Let me see nini. It's, I want to marry you. By the second week, we were looking at rings. By the third week, we were looking at property. You know, like alikuwa asha decide, amesema you're the girl I want. Asha nipanga. Mimi nimeingia tu kwa relationship to enjoy. I think I came to my senses. Maybe I felt a bit caged, because also remember, with the fatherly love comes the fatherly discipline. So there's things like, he doesn't expect me to be a certain way, but I'm a young girl. That's the thing he's forgetting. I'm like half his age, even less than her. He's like triple my age. Oh my God. Because if he's pushing 60 and I'm not even 30, you know? So, iyo kunichunga, iyo anataka kujua niko wapi, nafanya nini, niko na nani. You see, the younger guys don't care that much. You can live your life because even them, they're living their life. But this guy who's stepping into your life as a father figure, so to say, he has the care of a father. He needs to know you're safe, you're okay, you're not participating in debauchery, you're not somewhere drunk in Amtaro. So I think that made me feel suffocated. It made me realize, oh, this guy is serious, like for real. Tukiendelea 2 months, I'll be married by December. It clicked in my head, and I kind of found myself getting embarrassed about things like, he was ready to meet my family. He's older than my parents.
He's older than your parents?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So how was I even going to bring up the topic to my parents? How was I going to say, Mom, I have someone I want you to meet, and this is the man I'm going to marry?
They were probably going to ask the age.
I feel like my parents would support, but I think it's awkward. It's awkward to bring an old man like that at home. And even if he has money, and even if he has, my mom would have definitely told me, something is wrong here. You need to think about it. So I just thought, and I think I felt scared of the commitment, because to me it meant, this is it. This is forever. If I agree, I really am doing this. I have to stay in this. You asked me how was the sex. The sex is not bad. It's not it's not different. It's not different, because for me, once there's an emotional connection and I'm in it and I'm very interested in it, then everything else in a bamba. But when I started coming back to my senses and realizing this is not entirely what I want, then now I started disconnecting emotionally. So this is why I was able to tell him, I don't think this relationship is gonna work out, because I'm still young and I'm free. I don't want to be, because let's be honest, in 10 years, I'll have to be his caregiver. And in 10 years, that's when my life is starting.
Wow.
I don't want to to be at home taking care of an old man just because he has money. I want to be gallivanting with my young husband.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, young girls can be very nice to be around, but I think they're also young comes with silliness, comes with a lot of all those things.
Yeah.
So it's you can see that they like the old men, might like the young bodies, but that's the end of it. At the end of the day, you're feeling like, okay, I'm just dating a child.
Yes.
You know, I'm just dating a child. She's one of my daughters.
You have nothing in common.
Yeah. Because
his conversations are about the 19... I wasn't there, man.
You weren't there.
I can't even relate. I mean, because I think I'm smart. I think I'm a smart girl. So relating to each other, even our conversations were very fun. Actually, this relationship was fun. Everything was amazing because he had a young soul. He loved to have fun. We were always out doing stuff. Actually, more stuff than I ever have done with younger guys. This guy was actually amazing and fun and happy and there. He was there completely. And I think that's what made me start falling in love with him. But at the back of my mind, I always knew. It's like I always knew this is not it. This is not it for me. If he proposes, he already did propose, but like, I wasn't going to walk down the aisle with this guy. I knew it in my heart. And, you know, most times when you see a young woman with an older man, because there's a time we were at a restaurant and someone shouted my name and I was with him, Roberta! And I know it was one of my followers. I don't know who it was. I don't remember who they were. But I felt, can I say embarrassment? Like, oh my God, someone saw me.
There's a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
That got this old white dude, and they're really traveling the world.
Yeah.
And so our mutual friend was with me, and I was asking her, how is it for her? Yeah. And then she was like, if you want to know how it is for her, have you seen them together in a picture? He's always the one taking the photos.
Exactly.
He's always the one taking the photos. So it's what do you feel when you're with an old man, walking around with him, you know, sometimes grabbing your ass in the supermarket, you know, just I've seen those kind of relationships, but mostly it's because it's between young African women and very old Wazungu people. I was having this drive with this lady that I was telling in Norway, and I was just telling her that I wanted to get into the head of the government on what they feel about this thing. She works with immigration in Norway. And so what is happening with Norwegian men is that a lot of them are going to the Philippines to get young girls and then bring them over to Norway and then live with them. Sometimes, obviously, you bring a Filipino woman and you think that they are naive, they are small, they are stupid. They mark time. And then slowly they become women.
Yeah.
And it flips on these men so badly. And because now these women are suddenly having families, they have 2 children recognized by the government of Norway, you can't beat them anymore. So they see situations whereby these men bring these women, they batter them, they beat them, but they just familiar. They have 1 kid, 2nd kid, then they know what it is. They know the law, the Norwegian law. So now they just go and say that this guy has been beating me. And that is how the man
loses everything.
He goes back to Filipino and the cycle goes on and on and on and on and on.
They're called passport bros.
Yeah, the passport bros.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a very young women are very interesting to have around, but they are very silly.
You know what the question I want to ask is, I mean, I've done all my research on this, and I can speak from experience, first of all, and also as someone who studies people like that. But then the question I ask is, honestly, what possibly could you have in common with someone you're 40 years older than?
The sex. The sex is a common denominator.
The relationships are very transactional. And that undertone is always there. When you see an older Mzungu guy, kwanza, when it's a Mzungu, you know it cannot be your relative. That is someone you're bumping genitals with.
Yeah.
So the relationship is, kuna hiyo undertone, it's transactional. And I think that's where the shame comes from. I mean, when you're there, okay, let me say for me. When I was there, I wasn't really thinking what other people are thinking, because mimi for real nilikuwa catch feelings, like nilikuwa nimeanza kumlike, na enjoy company, na enjoy time yake. I was having a good time. But then that's not always the case. Some people, the relationship is very transactional, like I'm here to be seen with a hot young girl and you are here for my money. Let's do this. But the only way you can be attracted to someone like that is because you're using each other, because you're using them. It's very difficult. Mimi, I had to sit with myself and ask myself, really? Have I really caught feelings? Or am I just yearning for attention and affection, and I'm receiving it from a man who's stepped in as a father figure? Because if I had a father present, would I be dating him? Ngumu. I don't think I would.
Yeah, ni ngumu, but I think sometimes pia ni upoko.
Unanita poko.
Si wewe. Si wewe. Si wewe. Yeah. I think, Roberta, yours is an isolated case. But if we look at others, we also see poverty in the whole thing.
Yes.
There are people that are really brought up well, but then life happens and you're saying, what can I do? And I think women have also, you know, the way men have been socialized, that you're supposed to be the breadwinner, you're supposed to take care of women, you're supposed to be the protector, you're supposed to be this and that and this and that. Sometimes I feel like the women are also socialized that way, that I need a caregiver, I need somebody to protect me, I need somebody to provide for me. So I think that sometimes women are actively looking for such kind of people. And you see now, you might not find them in a fellow African or a man. There is this thing in Kisumu that the Luo girls really like using. There is a phrase, thug race. Thug race is from the word thug rock. And the Luo ladies really, that they call the young men that are their age, you know, where am I going with a fellow thug race? You know.
What does it mean?
A thug race is somebody who is poor, like me.
It's true.
You see, so the young women are like, that socialization, I think it is, that I want somebody who's going to protect me, somebody who's going to take care of me. And even though we are in an era whereby we are saying that women should grow up and have a career and have their own money, at the back of their minds, there is this thing that I'm gonna be beautiful, I'm gonna look nice, I'm gonna look better, and then I'm gonna attract better.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
So then it becomes a situation whereby we have all these women that are jobless, you know, in the society, and they are always looking for the next best thing. If you talk to my sister's inbox is full. She lives in Norway. And it is full. Women literally asking for her to get them the passport bros. It's full. Even when she goes online, live, they are asking on the comments. You see?
Find me a husband.
Yes, does your husband have a brother? You know, it is something very, very, very interesting that is going on. But also, so I think that's another case that women are looking for survival.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they used to say that women have the survival instinct of a woman is to find somebody that is finally going to take care of her kids or her you know.
It's very biological.
Yeah, yeah. So you say it's biological. So I think that's one of the things that is happening. And you find a lot of us Africans are having really a lot of babies. So you are in a family and this man has got 6 children, 6 daughters. He cannot take care of them financially, he cannot take care of them emotionally. This is a man that leaves the house in Kibera at 5, walks to industrial area, and is in the trenches in the Carter up to
7
6.
p.m.
And then they start that walk back to Kibera. He arrives home at 8. The following day is out. The other day I was with a gentleman here and he was telling me that he was so overwhelmed in his family that if a child asked that, Daddy, we do not have bread, and he will look at that child and say, do I look like bread to you? That is a father that is in the house, but he's not there. So every day, every hour, you are not seeing your father. You are seeing a shadowy figure looming. And
even if he comes every day, he's just never there.
He's never there.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when I go back home at around 5, and my daughter is there, runs up to me, goes to my car and gets my bag, and we go to the house, and is on my lap for like 20 minutes, and then tells me about her school. And I don't think a lot of kids do not have that luxury.
Yeah. Of
just looking at your father and then smiling back at you.
Yeah. And
you guys just having time. Over the weekend, we drove to Karen Hub, and there are those guys that are doing them chairs on the yard. They put you on those digital cars and they go around, and then we drove to my sister's place, and then we come back. I think this one I wanted to say, but I can't say. Because it involves somebody else's child. So, anyway, I looked at that, and it was really, really strange. So this one I'm going to say because I think it's not too bad. So, my sister...
Just be smart about how you frame your words.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. So, my...
Don't say who.
My sister's... there is a little girl in my house right now who lost her father.
Oh.
The mother lost the marriage, and then finally they lost the father. And so something that I realized is that she has been in our house for the last, I think, 3 days. So I came to the house, and my daughter ran to me to hug me. And she was standing on the corridor, and she just watched.
Don't make me cry.
She just watched. So I thought for a moment, fuck, she doesn't have a father.
Yeah. She doesn't know what that hug feels like. She doesn't know. And if she does, it's gone,
So I told her, come. And she ran.
Yeah.
And I had both of them together.
Yeah.
And if you get into the psyche of that child, because I think that she doesn't even understand what is going on.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going on. Like, where is my father, and why is it like this, and why am I always with my mom alone, and all those things. And I can imagine that child growing up with those questions, and they are unanswered questions, growing up, and then becoming a young woman and starting to relate with men. And she's like, is he the father? Is he back?
Yeah.
Why does he want to hug me?
Yeah.
And then he wants to have sex with me. It's like, oh shit. So what is it?
What's happening?
Yeah.
Can I refuse?
Yes.
But he's showing me love. No other man has hugged me or asked me about how my day is. And it looks... Hii topic. Hiyo kitu, kwanza hiyo kitu ya hug umesema. It's not just a hug. It's more than a hug. Like it's protection. It's this girl finding out that she has support. She has someone to look up to. It's in the small things, like even how when mommy says, acheni kupiga kelele kwa nyumba, nyamazeni, kila mtu anyamaze, mkae chini, mnapiga kelele. She will say and say and say, and the kids will keep laughing and ignoring. Lakini daddy akiingia aseme, nimesema kila mtu anyamaze. The house goes quiet. Everyone listens. You know? And such things in the home, they teach you order. They teach you to listen. It's not about fear or nini. It's just about the masculine presence in the home. It teaches you so many things. We were talking about how it's very difficult sometimes to work with men. And these things start there. They start there in that if there is no father figure in the home, this man is going to grow up into the kind of man who you can't tell him anything. He had no rule of law in the house. He had no one giving him orders. He had no one guiding him and telling him, this is how you do this. This is how this is supposed to be done. So now the society is filled, because all of us, almost all of us, did not have present fathers. We're all here wondering, what went wrong? But what went wrong is the lack of fathers in the homes. Because if the fathers were present, you see these things we're dealing with in relationships, in the workplace, in friendships. Those are not issues we're supposed to have. And you can see it in kids. Kama tu example nimepeana. Daddy akisema nyamazeni kila mtu usikiza. Lakini if you grow up in an environment where you're not used to listening to women, because women don't have that authoritative voice, they don't. When mommy shouts, it comes out of anger and bitterness, like amechoka, amewaambia na hamsikii. Lakini daddy akisema, anasema tu juu daddy usema. Unajua like, you know kazi ya daddy akikuwa anasema vitu zifanywe hivi, you have some sort of trust in him more of when he's giving orders. So the reason there's that big difference is because it didn't start at home.
Do you have a lot of your, you know, a lot of women are raising children without fathers right now.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's horrible. I think it's detrimental. I'm not putting the blame on the women. I'm just saying when men are not present, the absence is felt. And we are dealing with it up to now. Look at me here talking about daddy issues. The difference is I'm aware. Like I know. I'm able to introspect. I'm able to sit down and say, this 60-year-old man, is he capable of loving me? But there's girls out there who don't ask themselves such questions. It's normal. Or even if they've justified it in their head, he's giving me money and I'm giving him sex. Cool. They're not finding out where is it coming from. Because on a normal day, would you be attracted to that 60-year-old man really? Would you really be attracted to him? And even this, you need to ask yourself, this man who's 60, ni nini anatafuta? Ameishi hiyo maisha yote. Saizi ndo anataka kunioa mimi. Ako ready, tushaenda ring shopping, tushaanza kuangalia property. Kuna kasoro mahali. There is a problem somewhere, because how are you 60? You've not been able to cultivate any sort of relationship that's long-term like that. Women also, the women, I think, just a very controversial opinion. When my wife has changed. In what way?
Over the years. My wife was, for lack of a better word, she didn't ask a lot of questions when she was young in marriage. You know, but I've seen her becoming bolder and bolder and bolder. And there are things she never used to tell me that she now tells me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I won't ask. But I love your wife. I love your wife.
The other day she told me to take the cup to the kitchen and left it on the table. Like, I was like, shit.
It was something new and different.
Yeah.
So how did that make you feel?
The idea is that I think men need to know that women grow and become very mature and have more opinions and will stand by their opinion.
And you know when that happens? When she feels safe.
So, the other day we were having a very heated conversation about Kikuyu women and the Luo women. And somebody was telling me that, Jegero, let me tell you something that people do not understand about Kikuyu women and Kikuyu and Luo women. Kikuyu women are very loyal when they are young. But when they become older, they grow into matriarchs. The home belongs to Kikuyu women.
Yes.
But when they are young, you think that they are very nice, they are very loyal. One kid, second kid, third kid, the home belongs to them. And that can be said of naturally lots of women out there.
Yeah.
But I think the problem that men are constantly also having to deal with are women that have changed.
And grown.
Yes. And are no longer the kids that you used to say, okay, go give me water to drink. Baba nanisi ile ndo dini. Ile si ndio dispenser. So wende tujichote maji.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And I think as a man, you need to realize that this woman has grown, has matured, has given birth. She's not as agile. She knows shit about life. And she can tell you. There are things that my wife nowadays tell me that she never used to tell me about. I think that she has told me let's talk several times, even on issues of sex. You see?
Yeah.
But then men now realizes that this woman is asking so many questions. Huyu mama sasa amezaa amekuwa kichwa ngumu. And that is why I think that now these kind of men are running away from their equals.
They want younger,
yes,
more submissive.
Yes.
And I think that you call them loyal, but I want to substitute that word with obedient. It's not a loyalty thing, it's an obedience thing.
And is there a difference?
Yes, because you've had this thing where men say, men don't want love, they want respect. This respect thing is that obedience thing. It's not a loyalty thing. Let me explain why. Because when they're describing the ideal woman, it's that woman you're talking about who doesn't ask questions. She shuts up. She listens. She's obedient. She does everything you want. That's what is termed as loyal. But you have to realize that as a woman is growing, the loyalty will stick, but she's maturing. Venye tu umesema, she can't remain loyal without being at your beck and call like a servant or a slave.
Yeah.
And the obedience or disobedience, it has to be accompanied with like conversation. I have to know, why do you want that from me? Why are you asking that of me? What are we doing? It's not just about me following blindly because you're my husband. And you see, with this 60-year-old guy, those are things I couldn't do. Because this is someone who's, first of all, ni wa kitambo. Amezaliwa time yenye a man says, a man does. So when he would call me and I tell him I'm out working, I have to make money, I have to do my own things, I have to travel, we would start having arguments because he's not used to women, the modern day woman who goes out and does her own stuff and fends for herself. Maybe I'm a working girl. I'm not going to sit at home and wait for you to bring for me 3,000 shillings and I could have made 30,000 shillings in that day. Unaona? So I could tell that there was a big discrepancy here. Amezoea, they call it loyalty, but it's obedience. He wants a girl he can say, come right here now. Come here right now. Tomorrow we are going here. Pack your suitcases, we are going for this trip. But I'm not that kind of girl. Like, yeah, I love for you to take care of me. I love the trips. I love you taking me out and buying me stuff. But I'm also at the point I can buy these things for myself. I can book these trips and I can pay for these things. So that's why I'm at a point where I'm able to ask questions like, sorry, I can't take time off work tomorrow. So I'm not going for your trip with you. Because the implication is that if I go on this trip with you, I will not be making my money that day. Will you compensate me for those hours?
I'll give you 3,000 bob.
No. So those are not things I can do. Those are not things I can do anymore. And that's actually part of why we broke up. Because he used to say, you're a free bird. I can't cage you. Those are the words he used verbatim. He said, it's so hard. You know, the reason, Bobbie, when we're breaking up, this is the conversation. He said, Bobbie, dealing with you is difficult because I never know where you are. I never know what you're doing. I never know what's happening in your life. I just see you doing things and moving and, you know, vitu tu zinasonga. A lot of people tell me this, but it's because that's what life has taught me. I never grew up in a situation where I could be laxed about things. I didn't have a dad I can call. Unaget, mi sikukuwa na dad mwenye naweza sema, daddy do this for me and then now I relax. Me already, nime grow up na mama mwenye amefanya kila kitu. You need what? Mom did it. I need to see where, I saw my mom, even now she's still working. She's doing things for herself. So that's the kind of woman I am. So to expect me to sit because you're an older man or you're providing, it's ngumu kidogo. Ndio maana hao watu wa kitambo sana wanashangaa juu wamezoea wale mademu wenye wana depend on him for everything. Send me money for this, send me money. Me, if you don't give me money, I'll just go and get the money. First of all, I'm not asking you. You know what you need to do. You know your job. You know your duties. You want me to start asking? I don't know what to ask. I never asked my dad. So now you want me to start asking in the relationship? Okay, fine. I can learn to need you. I'm not saying I don't need you as my man and I don't want you to do things for me. It's just the way I've set up my independence is if you're not rocking with me, things are still gonna get done. I'm not waiting for you to tell me. And he used to complain. You know, my baby, he used to call me amore mio, where are you, my love? Where are you? He used to hear me on the phone calls here with him. And I would tell him, I'm in Kisumu, I'm in Mombasa, I'm in... And
what were you doing in Kisumu, by the way?
Work. Oh, the year Juicy.
Yeah.
See, work. Oh, I was recording a podcast. I was doing an appearance for that, and I was going on the tour for the Omena Madaraka Festival. But we'll talk about that on a whole other episode. So unaona ukiona kwa Instagram, unaona udema ameenda vacation, she's staying at a nice hotel, she's doing nice hot things. There must be a man behind that. But there is no man. It's me just doing my work. Me going to get work done and getting paid. Lakini hao baba wazee hawaelewi hiyo mambo. Wanapenda msichana anakaa kwa nyumba, anafanyiwa kila kitu. So that's why we broke up. Because I'm a bird that cannot be caged. You see? So that thing for our peers can't date us, it is like that. They're very intentionally going for younger women because unajua dema ko 23 saizi unaweza mchanganya na inaitwaje na 3000 bob. Unaweza mwambia kama there's a guy ni mwingine tu ancestor tena. Traveling is also not Kenyan. So this guy, he told me he likes me. I was hooked up by my friend. So my friend told me there's this guy, he really loves you. He keeps talking about you. He wants to meet you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, I'm not dating anyone now. You know, I can give it a shot. So we start exchanging and we start talking. And this man, he was in Dubai. So he tells me, send me all the things you want. And I sent, and of course it was designer stuff and expensive stuff because I knew he had money. This guy comes, hajanunua kitu yoyote kwa your list, which is okay. The list was already there. I didn't write a list for him. I already have a shopping list for myself. Yenye, hizi vitu nafaa kuzinunua. Whether he's buying them or not, I have to buy them. And this man, so see, on the day we are supposed to meet, he tells me, you know, you can come to my hotel first. And then naambia na come hotel yako kudu. You know, Siju, I want you to show me your tattoos. I want you, And in my head, I'm thinking, let me tell you, if I was 23 years old, I would have fallen for that. But now, as an older woman, I'm asking myself, what am I coming to do in your hotel? I have never met you. This is the first time we're meeting. I don't know anything about you. Then I ask him, so this whole date you've been planning, ukisema you want to meet me, plan yako ilikuwa gani? Ufike Kenya mimi nikuje kwa hoteli yako? That was the grand plan you had for meeting this girl you have a crush on. Eh? This was the idea, the big idea. And he says, okay, we can do anything you want. We can go to Wings What, or we can go get a CG coffee in Java. Nikamwambia, mimi, Roberta, niamke, nivae nguo expensive, nipake makeup expensive, nipake perfume expensive, nivae viatu expensive, niite gari inichukue, nikuje Java kukunywa kahawa.
Kwani kuna shida gani na Java?
Mimi. Perfume yangu tu ni more expensive than hiyo bill yote. And this is not a conversation about money. It's just about the thought, the effort, the
Kwani wewe ulikuwa unataka afanye nini Roberta?
Mimi ni dress up niende kunywa kahawa. Wewe umeona hizo viatu nimevaa hizo heels. Wewe niende Java kukunywa kahawa. Wacha mchezo wewe. Si ndio hii kahawa hapa umeniletea kahawa na kunywa daily. Hata kwa
ulete ingine kahawa. Muongeze kahawa.
Hata kwa nyumba niko na instant coffee. Zile sachet.
Okay, Bobbie, this is getting out of hand. I hope that you're enjoying this program. Over the last 15 years, I have been working online for clients in America, in Europe, and all over the world. And that is why it pains me a lot when I see a lot of African brothers and sisters saying that they do not have a job. Now, this is the problem. A lot of people are trying to look for a job in 2024 in their own town, in their own country, in their local area. Now, the truth is, there are no jobs in Africa, at least not so many jobs. The good news is that we have internet these days. We have a tablet, we have a computer, we have a phone, and that means that we can do a lot of jobs, and those jobs are online. That is why over the last 4 years I've been writing a book that is called Digital Goldmine. It is a book that explains to you how you can earn money online. The 18 hustles that I've chosen are basically for Africans, because what happens when you are doing online jobs is that payment is usually a problem. So these 18 side hustles that I have put together in this book, you can be paid very well and very conveniently. Okay, so the book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $10. You can buy it in Kenya using paybill number. You can buy it online from anywhere in the world using a credit or a debit card. All the information about this book is in the description below. And if you have a brother, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a friend who is sitting at home and watching Netflix, please do buy this book for them. If you are the one sitting at home and watching Netflix and have nothing to do, please buy this book and your life is gonna change forever. Because I have been doing this online and I've been traveling and I've been enjoying myself and having a lot of fun. So thank you very much, and now back to programming. The question I wanted to ask you, Bobbie, is this.
Yes.
And I think there is something that you're trying to communicate here.
Yeah.
If for a woman, this is a man that has been looking for you, has been saying all these lovey-dovey things of how beautiful you are,
yes,
how he's always wanted to meet you. What was your expectation of what he would have planned? How would he have planned it?
A proper, deliberate plan. You see, I'm already coming from these father figure men,
yeah,
who have shit together. They're shit together. Wamejipanga. They don't ask me questions. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? No, I'm already coming from this history of dating older men who have their shit together. Like, they know what they want. They know, I want this girl. This is what I want with her. So it's not even the Java. It's about the preparation and the effort. It's about the deliberation of this date. I was expecting an ideal situation would be, hey, Bobbie, I'm in Nairobi now. I just arrived.
Yeah.
I would love to see you. Can we please go here? Can we please meet here at 9 p.m.? Do this. Whatever it is, hata tuseme ni hiyo okay, stand at Java na heels na perfume expensive nani. Java ni ya friends, colleagues. Sio ya romantic interest. You're taking me on a nice date and you're taking me there. No shade, by the way, to that. Java is just an example. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But he suggested Java. That's why I got pissed off at him. But
Java is one of the low-end restaurants for beautiful dates.
It's for I think
for
also
casual meeting.
Yes. Okay, mi hivyo ndo naiona. Si ati nadharau Java or anything. Mi naona tu ni hakuna thought into it. Ni kama nikwambie, unajua mi naweza kwambia Jagero twende chickenini. Hautaona ni weird, si ndio?
Do you know my daughter refused to eat KFC chicken?
Why?
She's shit.
If your daughter knows that,
she's 9 years old.
If you're 9 years old,
she refused.
Honor.
And left the chicken and nibbled on the chips. I was so embarrassed. I've never been embarrassed like that.
But now you know, it shows you her standards and boundaries are at. Okay, I hope people don't take this conversation the wrong way and say, msichana na dharau sijui nini. It's not about that. Like me and you, we can go to KFC, right? We can go and have, soda and chips. Cool. Lakini ungekuwa ati tunakatiana. Hizo nilienda chicken nini nikikuwa high school. Hizo ndo dates za watoto wako high school. Mi sina time ya kwenda kula chips na kuku na heels na perfume yangu. Nataka rare steak imekatwa vizuri. Wewe unataka kula chicken tenders. Are you serious? An ideal date for me would be say angenisho. Okay. I'm in Nairobi. And I'm fine. First of all, toa hizo conversations za hoteli jumi sikuji kwa yako. Sikuji kwa room yako, sikuji mali unalala, sikuji kwa nyumba. The last time mtu alinidanganya hivyo, nilienda na akanidinya. Mimi siendi kwa nyumba ya mtu sasa.
Alikudinya? Wapi?
Si mtu anakuambia come on Netflix and chill, unajipeleka hapo. It's okay, we won't do anything. Then you end up having sex with them and then I leave that place feeling like I didn't want to have sex. So why did I come to his house? But you see, I was younger. Now I'm older. Now I know I don't want to have sex with this man. So I'm not going anywhere near a bed or a house with him. Just caught me properly. Nikatie vizuri before mambo za hoteli. Hoteli yako nakuja kufanya nini na mimi nyumba yangu nimeipamba. Nyumba yangu inakaa hoteli. Siwezi toka kwa nyumba yangu niende mahali pengine. Nyumba yangu kuna chakula, kuna hiyo coffee, kuna kitanda poa. Alafu nikuje nijitoe kwa nyumba niende kuzurura nje na wewe unaweza imagine unione tu Java nimesimama hapo.
And you know those hotel beds, unless it's a very good hotel, it's a very good room, those beds are usually very tiny.
My bed is big, I can roll like this side hata sitaimaliza bado. So, spend hizo mchezo. So I would have him being an older guy especially, I was very disappointed. I called off the date. I unfollowed him and removed him from my phone. And he called me and said, I know you've deleted me because, and I was like, yeah, because you're not up to par. I'm coming from a history of men who are very respectful to me, men who treat me really well, men who, just the guy I was seeing before him. He asked me out on a date and I told him, I'm sorry, I have a young kitten. Siwezi muacha hivyo tu kwa nyumba. Please don't laugh.
This woman is saying what? What are you saying?
Nagara nisikize. I told him.
You told a man that you're my...
Yeah. It's valid.
Go ahead with this story.
It's valid.
Go ahead with this story.
I told him.
I thought you were going to say, Bobbie, you have a kid. I didn't know.
Kitten.
Yes.
So, I can't, when you have a pet, people who have pets understand me. Those who don't have pets might not. But when you have a pet, a small, it does require the attention of a child, sorry to say. Okay. Because you have to feed him, you have to make sure amesusu. Kwanza kani mdogo hivyo, anakojoa sana kila mahali ajui vitu vizuri. So I have to be a hands-on parent for real.
Okay.
Siwezi mwacha kwa nyumba peke yake, anaweza jiumiza, anaweza fanya anything. So I told this guy, I'm sorry I can't go on a date right now. If we go, it has to be mchana and it has to be brief, like 1 hour, 2 hours. Not dinner or anything like that. Do you know what that man said? Get a nanny. I'll pay. Get someone to come and take care of your kitten. Yeah. Or like, is there a kitten daycare thing, something? I'll pay. He told me I'll pay. And I went on the date, and it was amazing. I had so much fun. You see, it's not about the money this man is paying. He's showing me he really wants to see me. Yani, hakuna excuse neza mpea. Ati kitten, I'll fix it. If I had real human children, he would have done the same thing, you know? It's the extension of, I don't want you to come and spend time with me when your house is not in order. Because he knows you have responsibility. He knows you have to take care of things. So, niyo extension ya, I care. This man asking me to go eat wings and siji go to his hotel so I can show him my tattoos. Mina shanga tu ni kwa world gani, izo vitu work. There's girls who fall for that stuff. Especially if it's a fancy hotel, you know, you start thinking, you know, it looks nice. Me, I don't care. I go to fancy hotels all the time. And I can pay for myself. So it's not something that's moving me at burger, chicken, sijui chips.
Let me ask you something, Bobbie. On a serious note.
Ask away.
If you see somebody doing that to a woman, he has done it before.
And it worked. Now he's confused why it's not working on Bobbie. He's done it before many times. Because now, see, I was hooked up with him with my friend. And when I'm talking to my friend, I was like, this guy, he had a lot of sex talks. He kept talking about his hotels, showing him the tattoos on my body, what. The end goal of his was, I will end up in bed with him. It works on some girls. Because you know why? He will send you an Uber. Or he'll give you Uber money or whatever. You'll come, you'll be in a nice restaurant. Tuseme ni hiyo Java. Kama hujazoea, you'll eat that chips and burger. You'll feel nice with your pina colada drink, whatever you decide to drink. And then he'll take you to this nice hotel. And now you start feeling indebted to him. You start feeling this guy has spent this money. Maybe he spent 4,000, 5,000. You start feeling like you owe him. Why? Because you didn't have a father doing these things for you, showing you it's normal. It's normal. This is literally bare minimum. When a man cares for you, he makes sure you've eaten, you're safe, you're well taken care of, because he cares about how you are when you're around him. He cares, is Roberta comfortable? Is she okay? She looks beautiful. She put some effort into her clothes. She put, venye tu nimesema, perfume yangu pekee ilikuwa expensive kuliko hiyo bill ya Java. So what are we doing?
There's something that Muyu told me that I will never forget.
Tell me.
I asked Muyu, do you find a lot of men throwing money at you, telling you that you're beautiful, that we can do this, we can take you here? And then she told me all the time. And I asked her, and you've never fallen for anything? And she said, yes, I can't. And then she leaned and said, Jagero, you know, there are very few men who can match up to my father. Anything that a man tries to give me, my father can give me double.
Let me tell you, I have a friend. My lawyer friend you met that I came with here the other day.
I don't remember. She's a lawyer herself.
Yeah. That girl, her dad was present. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple years ago. But you can see the void he left. Because their dad was there. Unaona mimi nikikuwa in a crisis, oh my God, what am I going to do? She knows what to do. She knows how to be on top of things. She'll make the calls. She'll arrange things. And I see a lot of that. I see a lot of that coming from her dad being there. It's so important, by the way. Madam kama mimi tuko disadvantaged kwa sababu mimi kitu imenisaidia ni kumake do yangu. Kama singekuwa na do yangu, ningekuwa bado nasikiza hao mafala wa Java. Hizo ndo vitu zingekuwa zinanibamba. Mtu ananiambia kama nikubaye kuku nakimbia.
But do you know Java is a very good savior man to so many people.
Yeah,
leave Java alone.
It's just an example, please. I love the cakes, kwanza the chocolate fudge.
Do they have cakes?
Do they?
Java has really gone down in terms of quality. Java needs their job is like a couple just giving birth to children they can't take care of. Java Kericho is shit.
Yeah. Let me shout out the Java for the one in Hurlingham next to...
I know it. Next to
Nairobi Hospital up there.
Yeah, Nairobi Hospital.
Okay.
Oh,
East
yeah,
side.
Nairobi Hospital. Oh, the one down.
There's a nice lady there called Rose. You know, after we found out my mom's diagnosis ya cancer, we went there because these are my cancer centers. Tukaingia hapo Java, and I was on the verge of tears. But there's this nice lady, I think she's called Rose. She really took care of us. Like, she really made me feel like the world wasn't ending.
Java is a very good place. The only thing is that their quality is really going down right now, because I think they have got so many of them. And the people, I don't know whether they are selling names, franchising, and then letting other random people take care of their Javas.
Oh, so the quality dwindles.
It has gone down. They have got the worst chapati in town.
Alafu mtu anataka niende huko kukunywa chai for a date, for a romantic date. Alafu after that, anipeleke kwa mattress.
Well, your standards are too high. Anyway, let's talk about something else. Because I think everything that we are talking about should be able to have some sort of... for women that are having that daddy issue thing, I mean, they're not going to have fathers for sure.
Yeah.
How have you learned to deal with it?
Yes. So something that has helped me a lot is, first of all, surrounding myself with positive male figures. And I don't mean men even who are older than me. I mean my friends. Like, my best friend is called Curtis. I've been friends with him for over 10 years now. Curtis is very hands-on in my life. Like, he's that friend I can rely on anytime. I can call Curtis to come and fix those curtains for me, and he will show up, no questions asked. And Curtis is, his parents are very present, so he grew up in a very secure home. And he has so many sisters. And I love being his friend because I feel like he extends that love to me. It's very unconditional. It's, Roberta, you're my sister and I'm here for you. And he has been consistent through the years. Me and Curtis have gone through loss, grief, losing money, losing business, losing jobs, losing everything. And he's just been there. And I love him because he's never wanted anything from me. He just wants me to be fine. And surrounding myself with such men, it's not easy to find them, first of all, because every man who wants to be around you wants something from you. So cultivating these friendships.
That's what I wanted to ask. Because a lot of very few women believe that a man can just be your friend.
Men are Mimi, I've learned the importance of men because I have been able to surround myself with I'm very deliberate. Not just with my female friendships, even with men, I vet you. I have to see, how do you treat your mom?
How do you vet them?
Your relationship. I look at your relationship with your mom. Your relationship with the women in your life. You need to be a man who has friends when you're ujadinya. It's very important because not many men can do that. And that's a self-discipline thing more than anything else. I need to know you're able to be around women who you can create friendships with, who you can have healthy relationships with. Like Curtis, a lot of his friends are girls. And let me tell you, I have never, 10 years of our friendships, all these women have nothing but amazing things to say about him. And I'm also a direct beneficiary of his friendship and his love. I don't know if he'll be mad I'm talking about him, because I never really talk about him, but because he's a very private person, but he's just a good friend. And it is in seeing, by the way, Curtis has set the bar for me. It is through him being my friend that I've been able to vet all these other men. Because now Curtis amenionyesha standard flani yenye, au majama wengine hata wenye na date, nikiangalia venye wana act, venye wana ni treat, venye wana react, venye wana niongelesha. Curtis, if I just tell myself Curtis would never do that to me, it's over for you. Because Curtis has already set this standard. Remember when him nasema tume go through grief, loss, we've lost money together, we've lost businesses together, and his treatment towards me has never changed. Whether Curtis is broke, tired, angry, sad, the way he treats me and the way he shows up for me is consistent. So that has helped a lot. also having the same, not just my peers, he's my age mate. So not just my peers, but older men that also I'm around. People like my colleagues, like CJ Atemo, we are with him on the Citizen Daybreak show. That's someone I've been able to grow under and look up to. The same sort of relationship. Si mtu anakukatia ama mtu anatry anything na wewe. Ni mtu tu anataka kuona ukigrow. CJ has put me in positions to make more money, to be better, to learn, to heal. He's put me in opportunity. Even you know, putting me in situations where I know Jagero really wants me to grow. Yani, there is no undertone to it. There is nothing. He wants nothing from me. He's never asked me for anything. Our conversations revolve around, Bobbie, how can I put you at a better spot? Because as a man, you already know under patriarchy, you have privilege more than me. You already know you can enter rooms and get listened to before me, just because of you being a man and me being a woman. So those are the things I look out for. Because if it were otherwise, do you think you'd ever see me here again? Never. I've worked with so many men who end up hitting on me. Men who, even after the job, they think, they can try to sleep with me or things like that. Those are men I already know. Curtis would never do that. CJ would never do that.
Can I ask you something that is interesting? Talking from the point of a man. If one of the people that you really believed in as your male friend, do you sever the relationship, or you can tell him, look, Jagero, that won't work?
It's important to have clear communication, because the reason to manage kufika hapa as friends ni juu ya hiyo communication. Ni juu ya hiyo, I know feelings can come up. I know when people spend a lot of time, they might end up starting to grow fond of each other. But it's through these conversations. Sometimes you're just going through phases. Kama ile ovulation tuliongea. I won't is this TMI? No, that's too much. I can't say here. But there's a time I was going crazy and I had no man at all that on my roster that I could call. And that day,
sneaky link.
None. I had nothing. Zero. And
by the way, a woman called me for a sneaky link. And I'm like, this is so disrespectful to me. Like, do you really feel that Oduo Jagero can drive to your house to fuck you in your house?
And you see, when you have standards, you think like that. But when you don't have standards, you get excited because it's free pussy. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a difference. So it's, what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. But just to malizia the previous question, it's placing myself around positive influences, men who want to see me grow and do really, really well, having honest conversations. And if you see a red flag, call it out. Oh, I was saying, now with my friends, we just have the discussion. I just tell you, Jagero, I'm here to work. Hizi mambo zingine zote siko hapo.
Do you want to ask him that, do you feel like we cannot work if we don't sleep together? Do you ask them that question? That what is your feeling? Like, do you think this friendship can go on without us sleeping with each other?
Fortunately, I've never had to be in such a situation where a friend of mine like that, like now Curtis.
Because sometimes you don't want to lose that friend too, right?
Yeah.
But they're giving you bad vibes, and you want to tell them that let's forget about these vibes. Let's just continue being friends.
Me, I feel you just talk about it. Let's just put it on the table and say, because feelings ni normal, lakini kama ita affect kazi, then decisions have to be made. Because remember, I don't have a father. So I can't start messing up work and my money because of such things. Mi niko focused na chase kitu. Hizi mambo zingine. Kwanza majamaa kisha kudisha anachanga kuongelesha. Atakudisha alafu kesho akwe na dem mwingine. So mi sitaki hizo issues, sijui jealousy, anger, sijui abandonment. I don't want those issues to start coming up. And also being aware, exposing myself, getting more education, talking about it. It's put me in positions where I can do introspection. I can ask myself questions like, am I happy? Why am I? Kama nili realize, I don't fall in love with a man until he starts taking care of me. You could do everything. You could tell me all the sweet words. You could take me to all the dinners. You could do what. But if you're not actively trying to improve my life, I can't fall in love with you. I can't. I don't know if that falls in the daddy issues category, because remember, in relationships, you're supposed to be seeking out your partner. Someone you're at par with, someone you can have open conversations with, someone who you're not expecting them to come and be a parent. You're expecting, pull weight yake, mini pull weight yangu tupatane katikati. So having awareness enables me to ask myself these questions like, am I looking for a dad or am I looking for a lover? Because it seems a bit incestuous when this man is doing all these things for you and like you're giving him sex in exchange for it. It's a bit weird. It's a bit, but mimi sa place niko, I'm really improving my life already. So if you're not coming to do anything extra, I can do without you. I don't really need you in my life.
All right.
Yeah.
This your podcast to end
now. Wait, let me ask you one question before we end.
Okay.
So, from everything you've had me saying today, and the fact that I'm able to trace where these feelings and these actions of mine are coming from, I'm able to say I'm attracted to older men because, you know, I lacked that love from my father. Do you think there's anything you have to change from today with your relationship with your daughter? Do you think there's any improvements? Do you think there's anything you'd love to address? Or is there like, how does this conversation make you feel? How are you walking out of this conversation today?
I think first of all, it is terrifying. This conversation is very terrifying to me. And sometimes the conversations that you have, and it leaves you more confused than when you started them.
Yeah.
You know, the other day I was thinking about how I was raised by my father and my mother. My mother and my father, my father was a provider. He used to be called Mundo Mogotekoot. Mundo Mogotekoot. My father knew that he had a problem with keeping money in his pocket. So the first thing he would do when he got his salary was to send my mother to go and get a sack of maize from the market. Because he knew that he's gonna drink all the rest of the money. If he doesn't buy the unga, there's gonna be a problem. One of the other things that my father did was to go and talk to the lady that was selling maize and created a rapport with her that if my mother went to her for maize, whether my mother had money or not, she will have to provide her with the maize, and then at the end of the month, he will buy the sack and pay the amount that is owed. You see, so that was my father, a very responsible man. Partially, one of the things I remember about my father was coming back at every end month on a Friday from Kisumu, where he was working as an accountant with fresh fish from Obunga, you know. And I remember they used to be wrapped in a magazine, you know. And by the time he reaches home, the magazine is oily, you know. And then my mother would cook the fish, and we would have a very beautiful dinner. All right. My father, if the money did not go, all of it did not go to alcohol, he would pay school fees. He struggled to pay my school fees throughout my secondary school, you know. So that was my father. There are other things that he did not do, such as carrying me. I was never on my father's lap, not even once. My father was a very cruel man, and we used to batter my mother and do all these things. You see, if you look at that man, one of the things that I've come to realize about that man was that this was a man that was coming into marriage very ill-equipped. And it can be traced to his father, who was also a wife batterer, who is also just as cruel. You know?
Yeah.
So it was a cycle that was going down and down and down. So my brother was a mirror of my father, battering his wife and in alcohol. You see? So you see from my grandfather to my father and to my brother, I could see patterns. I don't know about my grandfather because I don't know his family. but I know about my father. This is a man that was coming from this other man and getting into this marriage, ill-equipped, not knowing. He has not dealt with his traumas from his father. He has not dealt with his addiction. He has not dealt with anything. He has no understanding. In retrospect, what I'm seeing is he's a man that had no understanding of what a family means. He was a man that did not understand that children have emotions. And children want love. Children want protection. But we grew, between me and my father and our kids, we were wild. My father was wild, and then he had wild children under him. And he did not know how to take care of these children. He did not, when my sister got pregnant in Form 2, my father decided that was the end of her education. And that was it. My sister left school in class 7, just a year before doing her KCPE. My brother left school in class 4. Myself and our youngest were the ones who had to, by grace, by the grace of the energy of universe, was able to go to Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, up to Form 4. My brother did not go to college. I'm the only member of my family that has got tertiary education. You see, this entire thing is a tragedy.
Yes.
It's a tragedy, and everybody is responsible.
And everyone is suffering.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can say that what I'm trying to say is that once you decide to do something, you must be responsible around it.
Yes.
And it's your work to go out and look for new information about what you want to do.
Yes.
You want to start a podcast.
Yes.
You want to know about cameras. You want to know about microphones. You want to know about editing suits. You want to know about social media. You want to know about YouTube and how to manage it. That is a decision you've made. You've gotten into this thing. You must fucking go out and look for this information.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people get into marriage and they don't want to look for information on how to be married.
Yes.
You understand? So my father went into this marriage, did not do his due diligence, did not research it, and babies are coming out. He doesn't know how to deal with these babies. He has got a wife. He doesn't know how to deal with them. So he beat her up, thinking that he's one of his children. So when I got married, I decided that I'm not going to beat up my wife. You see, that's a decision that I'm now deciding that my brother decided that he's going to beat his wife like his father beat his mother. My father decided to beat his wife like he saw his own father beat his. But I think, so what I'm getting at is that you have to have a responsibility and decide to look for information on the things that you've decided to do. Yes. If you are going to get a house to rent, you need to know that it involves paying rent. Yeah? It involves doing fumigation once in a while.
Yes.
It involves
fixing those curtain rods. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You can decide that you can walk around the street saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But you should know. So in as much as you have your own traumas, at some point you have to sit down with yourself.
It's your responsibility.
Yes, and say, how am I dealing with this thing? You cannot keep beating up a woman because your father beat up women.
Yes.
It's a tragedy. In psychology it will be explained, but for you, you are responsible for the things that you are doing.
Yes.
You see?
And the explanation is never an excuse.
Yeah. And this is the problem I'm having with people that are doing crazy things in the age of the internet. You see, right now, if you Google how to make a marriage work, I mean, Google has got 325 pages. Like you will have to scroll 325 pages on Google.
Of information.
Yeah. You see, like how to deal with women. You want to tell me that you don't know how to deal with women? While we have realized that they are petty, they are shallow, they are what, they are in your life. You're giving birth to them.
You have to work with them.
You
have to be around them.
You have to, okay, you are saying that men are difficult to work with, they are shitty, they are light, they don't wash their socks. but they are here. They are your brothers. You have to deal with whatever is there. That's how we deal with inflation. You don't run away, do you?
No.
You
don't stop buying the things
you need. You go to the supermarket and look at prices. You are taking responsibility that you don't want to show up at the till and you're suddenly seeing 35,000 and you only have 20.
Yeah. It's
true.
So
why is it that there are people who are always late?
Yeah.
But when there is a plane going to UK, they are at the airport at the time. So Nini, are you really late? Are you really somebody who just appears late?
Yeah.
Ama ni disrespect ya matatu tu uko nayo. Kwa sababu unajua matatu you will always find a matatu at the stage. Ndio maana uko late.
Yeah.
Lakini unajua kani ndege ya kwenda UK
ungeamka jana.
Unajua tu hakuna ndege ya matatu.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So all these things. So that is a long about way of answering your question about my daughter. For me, I just want to learn all these things. The other day we were talking about periods and you were telling me how am I going to start talking to and I had that discussion with my wife. You know, how are you going to figure this out?
Yeah.
And I'm like, the question that is always in my mind, Roberta, is this. When will my daughter say on a podcast later on in life about me?
The way I'm here talking about my dad's.
What will she say on a podcast when she's 25 years old?
Yes.
Because she's going to talk. And I'm probably going to listen. And probably will have that discussion with her on my podcast.
Yeah.
So, there are so many difficult things. Like I was in a country. And one of my friends came with her 2 sons. And the son decided that I am going to be the judge between her and the mother. The boy has never seen me in his life. And he said, my mother is not fair to me. And then so mama and her mother was like just dumbfounded. You see? So again, you can't blame the mother. But it is a situation whereby probably this woman can't deal with this man.
Because a woman can't raise a man to be a man.
Yeah, it is difficult.
It is.
So anyway, that is how life is. In conclusion, I think that new knowledge is very important. Like I always say that I've known so much about women on this podcast than I have ever known in 30 years, in my entire existence. Because when you stay close to people, a certain group, a certain gender, a certain race, you begin to really be intimate with the things they're saying.
And the way they think.
Yeah. You know, when women say that they don't feel safe, a lot of men do not really understand what exactly they mean. Until you hear them telling those stories very intimately. Like as a man, you just get into a matatu and you just want to sit and you don't care about anybody going to deny you peace in that matatu. You know? And you can imagine sitting with a man in a matatu and they are starting to touch your crotch. And you're like, fuck. I can imagine as a grown-up man getting to sit in a matatu and then a woman just wants to dara me in a matatu. I will be like, kwani mimi nimefanya nini kwa hii dunia? Mtu ananitaka kunifanyia hivi. Like that woman that wanted me to go and fuck her at her place.
Very disrespectful. So let me ask this last question. How, as a man, do you feel like the absence of your father, whether it's while he was alive and him being unavailable emotionally, and even after his death, and you had to navigate this world without a father, how do you feel like it has impacted your life? And can you tell the differences? Like, do you think life would be a bit easier or a bit better if you had a dad who took responsibility, put the bottle down, said, you know, this money, let me put it into my family so that, you know, let me work on my depression so that I can be here for my family. let me just be a present dad. Do you feel like, I know you can't change how things happened, but how do you think his absence has impacted you into who you are right now?
That is...
Therapy session. This is Heartfelt with Bobbie. You chose this.
You are eating a mandazi for 10 bob na unasema huwezi pelekwa Java.
Hii mandazi na coffee inaishia hapa. Mkinipata huko nje.
I was with my sister over the weekend, and she was telling me something, that the way you are is because of those problems. Those problems taught you how to be a man. There is truth in what she's saying. There is a bit of concern in what she's saying. I came to Nairobi as a partial orphan. Then 5 months later, I was a total orphan, with no money, with basically nothing in this city. And I was looking at some people that were having parents, and I was like, you know the way they shoot the gun when people are starting a 100-meter race, and you feel like they shoot the gun and you're still on your knees and your friends are ahead of you. You see, with no disrespect to those people, sometimes I look at their life and the comfort with which they were brought up, and I see that they were not toughened enough for life. And they have remained, they have stagnated, because suddenly they were in this territory that they don't know how to deal with. And their parents are also telling them that you are old enough to take care of your problems. We can only come so far. You see? So you look at that, they don't have the trauma of being raised up. But then they have gotten themselves into this desert, and they're like, I want to go back to my father. You see? So if you are not careful, being raised well can have a very big disadvantage, because you don't know how to toughen up. You have not been toughened up for life. That is why Burale was saying that there are things that you should be able to show a man when they are still living with you. There is a guy who told me that any money that he gives his boy, he has to write him an invoice. That what is the exchange value for what I'm giving you?
Yeah.
Wewe si uende ufagie pale alafu niambie sasa daddy hiyo story ya kwenda theater inakuaje. You see? So I find out that it's a double-edged sword. You could have been taken care of very well, but when the caretaker takes steps back, the center can't hold. You are now in quicksand. You see? But if you are left too early, you have toughened up, and you know how to walk or you know how to put your roots down. Your roots have gone down. The ones that have been taken care of have their roots very shallow, and anything kidogo tu kunyeshe tu kidogo, then problems.
Yes.
So for me, I would say that growing up left me with a lot of trauma. I still have nightmares of me going to school and facing my maths teacher up to date, But being left here in the city to fend for myself toughened me. And for me, I've always wanted to know how to make money. One of the things I fear Roberta so much is having no money and having to depend on people. See, hata poverty, yani sina pesa ya kununulia mtoto wangu chips. So I think it left me with traumas, but it also left me at a very good place where I could take care of myself. I left and went to Rwanda and lived there for 1 year without depending on anyone. In a foreign country. I came back here, figured out how to get a woman in this city to go to church. The church told me to pay money. I didn't have money. I told her, let's go to the Attorney General. We had that one. I told all my friends that if you want to come for my after party, you have to pay the dinner, which is 2,000, and I don't have a shilling. We will come a huna. There are friends of mine who never showed up for my wedding because they didn't have a 2,000 bob. But I also know that if you don't pay the 2,000, mimi chakula si yangu, ni ya hoteli. My friends always tell me that up to today, the ones that did not show up for my wedding. As a matter of fact, I'm planning to have another wedding.
Oh, please invite me, please.
Yes. So, that's the thing. That's the thing that you should be very careful when your upbringing has been you've been very soft. Because you might have a problem when those caregivers leave. Or you can imagine that your friends your parents have been taking care. Look at somebody whose parents have been taking care of them for so long, like they don't have to think about food. Then these two parents suddenly die in an accident, and you just remain without anybody. Or you go and live with this uncle that is so cruel, you can't even find food. You can imagine what that does to you. But also I think that if you have been raised well, you should be careful, because now when they take steps back, it's going to be very difficult for you. People like Roberta have already they went. You are trying to figure out, how do I behave without my mother? How do I, you are panicking, and Kina Roberta are way ahead. Yeah, wanaamka tu, they have got things to do. They travel, they do this, they do that. Unashangaa sasa nitapata wapi pesa ya kwenda Malindi. That's how you meet that man from Italy. Anakupeleka huko with this
unafurahi
with these saggy cheeks
and big stomach.
Anaenda hapo anakuwa uchi na unashangaa sasa huyu ndo inafaa nilale na yeye.
Si rahisi.
Yeah, na hata amki. You have to you have to do several things before time.
And he wants weird things.
Yeah, I hear those white men want weird things. What are some of the weird things?
That's a topic for another day. But I really appreciate how you've answered my question.
Yeah.
I was actually expecting a different answer, but like you've captured it perfectly, because it's made me wake up, because now I have to get out of this victim mentality. It's like having no present father figure. It didn't entirely just leave me wounded. It taught me that I can wake up and do these things by myself, that I can get someone to do it. But to be honest, both sides are true. Like, it would be nice if I had that. And it's also nice that I'm able to do all these things for myself. So maybe my parting shot would be, as a woman especially, do your things. Make your money, get your own stuff, because I promise, even these men who promise you that they'll take care of you, they get bored. A younger girl is gonna come along, a hotter girl is gonna come along, a prettier girl, or the more learned you become, they don't want you anymore. They want the gullible girls who can pick up and leave anytime. The girl he can tell, let's go to Italy. Na we uko tu hapo unapack bags, hata una pesa kwa account. Mi ukinipeleka Italy lazima nijue tunaenda kufanya nini rada?
Ni rada?
Unaniwekea nini kwa account? Business yangu lazima iendelee kurun hata kama siko mtaa. Vitu lazima zilipwe. Rent lazima ilipwe. Watu wangu lazima walipwe. Vitu zangu lazima ninunue. I can't just pick up and leave off because a man asked me to go. You know? And that's something they don't like. They don't like to see a girl who's amejipanga. They want a girl like that guy called Cam Newton. He was being interviewed on some podcast, and he said he loves poor girls because he can take advantage of them easily, because there's a clear exchange. Because nikikupea pesa kidogo unafurahi, unafanya vitu zote nataka. So unaona mi dem kama mimi siezi, ndio maana hiyo relationship haiwezi work. Lazima nijue tunaenda wapi, tunafanya nini, saa ngapi, kwa nini, hadi siku gani, na unanipea nini, ndo nikubali. So it's, and I'd also say to the dads, it matters. I'm pushing 30, having discussions about not having a father. It's not fair. Just be present, because I've had to teach myself all these things, and years of therapy and I've not even ever had these conversations with my dads, because I don't know how they'll take it. I don't know if they'll deny, but yeah, as a dad, please be present and love your kids, and make sure you create a space for them to be able to be there, to come to you as well. It's important for the father to be present in their daughters and in their sons' lives. And that's our conversation today on Heartfelt with Bobbie. I am So excited, and I'm happy about this conversation. I feel like I've let a lot of things off my chest.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy with all the answers you've given, honestly. I loved your perspectives. And next time, maybe we'll talk about mommy issues. We see the other side of things.
Mommy issues. So for me, I would just tell the audience that life has a way of giving us things we want and things we don't want sometimes. So trees, they give you guavas, they give you oranges, they give you pineapple, they give you all these things. It's upon you to figure out what to make with what is on the table.
Yeah.
You know, I see there are people that go to the fridge, like my wife goes to the fridge and anachukua hii na kutu anakula, ana watch Netflix. Na anashangaa, kwani ulipata ni kitu ya kukula? Mimi sijaona kitu.
She can make do with what she has.
Yeah, she just goes into the fridge and gets whatever, and she just enjoys and goes to sleep.
Yeah.
So I think that it's important to be aware of where you are and the pain that you're feeling. You see, and what happened to you in the past. I don't think it is fair to tell people to forget about it.
Yes.
And just leave and just go ahead, because kitu inawavuta nyuma. On the other hand, it is also important to say that, am I going to stagnate here, or there is a way out? Kuna panya route. Na hiyo panya route ndo inafaa tuchukuange.
It's true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sitting with us throughout this conversation as we discussed daddy issues. And if you have any questions, please leave them for us in the comments, and we'll discuss it at a later episode. You can also reach us on our social media. You can message us. You can message me privately, ask us all sorts of questions, and subscribe. Please subscribe to Dialogues with Jagero. Watch hizi conversations tuziendeleze, so that I hope you leave this place with enough information to ask yourself questions, to introspect, to think about things, to see how you can heal and grow and become a better person. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to us today. This has been Robertta Bobbie and Odori Jagero for Dialogues with Jagero. Until next time, toodles.
Thank you. I want